Welcome to Get Your Bell Rung, a pro wrestling podcast, December 26th recap of SmackDown. I hope everybody's had a very Merry Christmas. Joining me tonight, WCW veteran, author of Looking Up at the Lights. I am talking about no other than Robbie Idol. And also joining us is a man who I question his taste in professional wrestling at times, but he is the host of Rasslin Memories. He has a brilliant memory when talking about the history of professional wrestling. I am talking about no other than GrizzledVet. Gentlemen, how are you doing?
Good. How you doing?
I am doing good. Guys, before we get started, I want to talk about something real quick. We kind of discussed it a little bit. Right now, again, we're talking about speculations and rumors. We're talking again about Triple H possibly leaving WWE. On the recent Coach and Bro show, Jonathan Coachman and Vince Russo. And look, guys, if there's any two men that will confirm that this is indeed rumors, if they're talking about it, I'm going to say it's rumors because I'm no disrespect to Vince Russo or Jonathan Coachman, but they just are not reliable as far as I'm concerned. But nonetheless, they're talking about this. They actually, during the conversation, Coachman revealed that, how he knows, I don't know, but he says the Rock's replacement for Triple H is Brian Gewirtz. He previously worked with WWE, but then joined a $7 production to work for Dwayne Johnson. Jonathan said, we're forgetting about the little ace in the hole the Rock is walking around with. He's about 5'7". He's got one of the smartest ring minds to ever walk a God's green earth. His name is Brian Gewirtz. I sublet my very first apartment from Brian. Rock took him for the WWE and has been writing for the $7 production for the last 20 damn years. And if you don't think Rock doesn't want him in charge of that show, you're out of your mind. That's how good Brian is. That's how good Brian is. I'm telling you right now, Coachman, remove your mouth from the Rock's balls. That's what I'm saying. I don't believe this at all whatsoever. GrizzledVet, what is your reaction to what Coachman is putting out there regarding this situation?
I heard about this briefly, like earlier today, maybe late yesterday. I heard something about it. It goes with what I said when, The Rock, whatever, Gewirtz is Rock's right-hand guy. If Triple H did step down, which is still not going to happen, because like you said, anything that has, bro, this is what's happening, bro. I didn't. This is the man who invested money in Juggalo Championship Wrestling, folks. Yeah. Okay. If you believe that, well, let me give you my email address. You can cash at me some, that money. But, okay, yeah, if it were to happen, I could see it being like a Gewirtz because that's going to basically be The Rock in charge without having to be there because Gewirtz is going to do whatever Dwayne tells him.
Yeah. Man, Robbie. Do you put any stock in what anything Jonathan Coachman and Vince Russo is saying, bro?
Bro, who's Brian? Who's this Brian guy, bro? So I don't know who he is, but with Russo, I mean, he kind of got blamed for WCW's fall and stuff. Was one of the big guys that was the big fall. Wasn't he in WWF at one time too? And
yeah, I mean, look, I'm not going to completely shit on Vince Russo because he did have success during the Attitude Era. He did, but at the same time, he was also under the control of Vince McMahon and other great creative minds, right? And as well as, I'm not going to shit on him and say that he was responsible for the fall of WCW either, because WCW was on the way down by the time Vince Russo got there. But I will say he didn't help the situation, though.
but did he have did he come from a background like watching wrestling or something?
Yeah.
Did he?
From my understanding, he covered
He's a fan in New York. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Vince Russo is a hustler. I'm going to give him credit for that. That man is the definition of a New York state street hustler. He can sell himself. He can sell ice cubes to Eskimos. And Vince Russo is good at that. He got into WWF as a writer named Vic Venom, writing a rumor column for WWF magazine, and was able to turn that into becoming the editor of WWF magazine. He got in with Linda. Linda liked him, whatever. I mean, he started off, he was just Vic Venom. That was a pin name. So no, the man knows the hustle. He knows how to sell himself. He knows the game. Just like Paul Heyman. What was Paul Heyman? He was just a photographer and a kid who got his way in the door, and now look at him. So I'm going to give Vince Russo props where it's deserved. Yep. Would the Attitude Era have been the same without Vince Russo? No. Vince was responsible for a lot of the writing of that time. And as far as Brian Gewirtz goes, you said you don't know his name. I'm going to assume you've lived under a rock for many years. Gewirtz was responsible for many years of Raw's, highlights in their last peak period. Gewirtz was the man behind a lot of that. The man is an excellent writer, but he's a writer, and he was able to work his way into a high-profile position with the WWE and now with $7 Productions with Dwayne Johnson. So Gewirtz is another one. Not a hustler in the vein of a Vince Russo, but a guy who was just in the right spot at the right time. And I have high respect for guys like that because, in a way, I'm kind of that. You just right time.
Look, but I mean, who did he write for when you said he wrote? So, like was he backstage in the wrestling game?
He was head of creative.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
He was head of creative for WWE.
I guess I just never paid attention to any of those kind of people.
Yeah, he was the guy you had to go to for final approval. Was the end all be all.
No, this is the thing. First, let me talk about Jonathan Coachman and Vince Russo, right? My issue with Jonathan Coachman is this. Look, is he a guy who has been very successful both in professional wrestling and in sports, football and covering it? Absolutely he has. I won't take that away from him. But Jonathan Coachman has had this thing against this issue with WWE for a very long time. Apparently, some things went down that he did not like with his exiting of WWE.
Money.
Right. And both Jonathan Coachman and Vince Russo has been shitting on WWE for a long time. Now, as far as Vince Russo, he is now involved in the juggernaut of professional wrestling. Look, I wish them all the success in the world. And I say this all the time. I don't care if it's AEW or some indie or promotion. I want these guys to be successful. The more successful, especially the indie people are, then the more potential stars we're going to see headed to your big top promotions, right? Vince Russo has been successful in professional wrestling. So like Grizzle said, I will give him all the respect in the world with that. But they've also known to have kind of, I'm not going to say start rumors, but they sure as hell don't do anything to stop those rumors. They will add to it. Now, as far as Gerwitz goes, look, and we talked about this, if that's a big, big if, Triple H does part ways with WWE this coming year, 2026, I would rather there be a Brian Gerwitz to take his spot, even though he is a writer, than some non-professional non-professional wrestling guy who is getting in there because of he knows someone who knows somebody, right? But again, I just don't think this is going to happen, and I'm not going to take the words of Jonathan Coachman and Vince Russo. Coachman is a kiss ass. He is. Sorry. But yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of this Russell talk and a couple of other sources that's reporting the same thing, that that Triple H is on his way out the door. The two biggest sources I'm looking for to actually seriously talk about this, that's going to make me take this a little bit more seriously, is Wrestling Inc. and Fightful Select. Ross, he's a douchebag, but the things he reports on more times than not have been accurate. Wrestling Inc., they've never let me down on anything they've reported on that I reported on. So until I start hearing those guys report on this, I'm not going to take it seriously. Grizzle.
You need to also kind of keep an eye on like PW Insider.
Yeah,
Mike
PW
Johnson's
Insider as
another
well.
one.
Yes.
Stay away from the Meltzer, because if it doesn't involve Tony Khan, you never know.
Yeah. Well, the thing about Dave Meltzer is, and I give him credit too, he's gotten a lot wrong, but he has been in the business covers for a long time. He's gotten a lot right as well. So it's one of those things that I have reported on what Meltzer has said, as long as there's other people credible reporting on it as well. It is one of those things. So let's jump in.
That came out a few months ago with Meltzer. It was an audio clip or something. They played it on the Cornette podcast.
No,
he's doing one of his shows. He's doing an interview, and his phone rings. And when his phone rings, it announces who's calling, and you audibly hear "doo-doo-doo, Tony Khan, doo-doo-doo." Yeah, Tony Khan called him while he was recording, and it picked up on the microphone.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that. Let's talk about why we are here. SmackDown, man, look, I'm an honest guy, right? And I'm only talking, and I'm going to say this because I'm going to shit on a lot tonight. I'm only speaking for myself and my taste and what I like. I'm not speaking for anyone else. I'm not saying anybody else should feel this way. I'm not saying that you're not a wrestling fan or you don't know professional wrestling if you don't feel the way I feel, but I'm going to be shitting on some things tonight.
Me too.
The first thing I'm going to shit on is the man that, as I told Robbie earlier, if Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, and Jeff Jarrett would have decided that they were going to create a kid that was going to have the worst possible image of those two with a their worst lack of ability that they both could have had, they were produced none other than a man who needs to hit the gym, stay at freaking Home Depot, and leave professional wrestling, none other than Joe Hendry. Now, Grizzle, I know you're a fan of this guy. Tonight was absolutely 100%, in my opinion, for what I like, terrible.
I disagree.
Of course you do.
You're
not a real wrestling fan.
It's supposed to be fun.
There's nothing fun about this. It was terrible.
It's supposed to be fun.
The only good part about this segment was when R-Truth was the rabbit. That made me chuckle a little bit.
My daughter asked about that. Why is someone dressed as the Easter Bunny? I said, because R-Truth is out there. Come on, man. It was funny.
It was not. It was not funny. And not to mention, look, we all know, and I will admit this, that the match itself was the type of match that, regardless of who was in it, I would have not enjoyed, because I don't like cheesy gimmicks like this, right? I get it. The world of professional wrestling doesn't revolve around me. There's a lot of fans who like these type of matches, and good for them that WWE gives them this. It's not my thing, though. It's not my thing. And I'm talking about the Miracle on 34th Street match that they had. There was too much ridiculousness, whatever it's called. It was too much ridiculousness. Robbie, first off, talk to me about Joe Hendry. As a guy who is a veteran professional wrestling, a guy who I consider you more of the professional wrestler that I would enjoy because type of matches that you like, that you're been involved in.
What was that? I heard that, like a fake voice or whatever.
I'm telling you right now
what he was saying.
Yeah. First off, before you respond, Robbie, Terry Zeller said, my people know me. I was watching you smiling, knowing you were losing your mind.
Same thing. As soon as this segment started, I thought, fuck, KG's losing his shit right now. This is great.
Robbie, tell me your thoughts on all this, man.
Henry's okay. I won't say he's like bad. I mean, he does some things well. Somebody needs to teach him how to swing the guitar and hit the guy in the head and not in the shoulder. I had an issue with that. If you're going to hit somebody with the guitar, hit him in the head. At least it looks way better than hitting him in the shoulder, because that did not look good. You could tell, and I mean, I get it. It was comedy and whatever, but you can definitely tell two people that are going to be released when releases come, and that's Otis and what's the Japanese guy, because
Kazawa.
Yeah, that's basically all they're around for. And I mean, are you going to continue to pay those guys to do stuff like that? I mean, at least have them wrestle, you know. I kind of agree with you on the match. I mean, if you're gonna do stuff like that, you should have, you know, at least kind of went all out with everything. I mean, they used the Christmas tree, the guitar. I'd rather seen him hit him in the head. Is it, you know, hitting him in the shoulder just did not look good at all. Henry's not bad. He's okay. I mean, I don't think he's a bad wrestler. That's his gimmick, you know. That, I guess that's his gimmick. It's over. It's how, I don't know, but it is.
Well, it's over because we have a bunch of basement dweller, hot pocket eating fucking idiots. Nonetheless, the point that one of the points, there's many points, almost turned it off. One of the points was when Miz opened up this big ass present as a ukulele, and then the two Christmas balls, you know, little tiny blue thing, and then when Joe Hendry took the Christmas tree, I can't remember what wrestling movie did, but part of a wrestling movie on it. I mean, I was like, come the fuck on, man. This is just overly terrible. And I hate that it was the Miz that was involved in this. Look, I get it. Miz gets paid handsomely. He is a future legend, professional wrestling. He's safe, right? But at the same time, you know what? If you're going to have a ridiculous match like this, then why don't you have the guys that you know are on the way out, which is Otis and the other, you know, Kazawa. Leave the Miz out of it, in my opinion. Grizzled, I know you can say everything opposite of what I said, but go ahead.
Okay, well, it was just a fun match. They do the Miracle on 34th Street fight every year. Is the match cheesy? Fuck yes, it is. I'm not going to defend the fucking thing. It's going to be corny. I like Joe Hendry. Wrestling-wise, okay, he ain't no bigger, no different than like The Miz or, you know.
Oh, he makes The Miz looks like one of the best pro wrestlers in the industry.
You shut up. This is my turn to talk now. Give me a second here. Jesus Christ. I'm not saying he's a high-quality wrestler. He's not going to be like on the Mount Rushmore of greatest wrestlers of all time. He's good at what he does. The fans like him. One, everybody loves it. They love to do that. But when it comes to the musical things, he writes that stuff himself. He comes up with the words, whatever. He doesn't have a writer writing his shtick for him. He does that. He's an actual musician. He's entertaining. I do enjoy some of the music stuff. And if you're jealous, KG, I understand. You know, you got tiny balls. It's okay. It's okay. But you gotta admit, dude, the one I didn't catch when he was singing.
God damn it, they're cute.
I didn't catch what he was singing at first, but when I caught the line was whenever Miz is in a team, he takes all the falls. That made me fucking laugh because that's always kind of been the way it is. That one caught me. But it's corny shtick, okay, but it's entertaining. It's Christmas. Quit being a goddamn Scrooge. You know, little blue balls, you know, it was funny.
This is why.
And the fans like it. Funny. And here's the thing. Here's another thing. I'm gonna go with here. You're talking The Miz, and he shouldn't be facing The Miz. He should be facing like an Otis or Tozawa. That one 100% disagree with, because if you look back at all, even back to the territory days, Robbie's going to be able to clarify on some of this stuff. You had that guy that you knew was your guy, the guy that could work with anybody and could come back and say, hey, this guy's good, this guy's bad, whatever. Miz is that guy in WWE now, and he's earned that spot.
Mm-hmm.
They know we can put anybody in the ring with the Miz, and Miz is going to come back and say, okay, yeah, kid's good, kid sucks. Putting him in the ring with a Tozawa or an Otis, that match would have been shittier than what we saw. Miz earns the respect enough where he can work with anybody, and that's what they use him for. And that's been that way throughout the history of wrestling.
But you just proved my point.
Independence and territories all had that in world class. You wanted to get to a Von Erich, you had to wrestle first, Johnny Mantel. You had to work Johnny Mantel on TV before you got to a Von Erich. But every territory had those.
But this is the difference, and you just proved my point. Without the Miz and without other good performers that can make other people look better, Hendry would be exposed for the terrible talent.
It's not making him look better. It's you're putting him in the ring with someone that's going to come back and give Triple H or whoever, okay, how is he? He's good. Thumbs up. I'm going to give him this. He can work on this a little bit. They need that. It's not making them look good. It's they're putting him in the ring with someone who's going to come back and be able to give them 100% honest, okay, this guy's good. Do you think he's good enough to go on to this? Fuck no. And that's been that way since, wrestling was, shit.
Right.
I'm sure there's probably somebody who had to face before he faced Luthez.
Let's go back to him playing the guitar and saying the funny shit. The reason why I roll my eyes at it is because it's been done. And if you're going to do the 4.0 version of it, then at least be good at it. And he's not. Terry says, I know several independent wrestlers that are better than Hendry. I agree.
Oh, fuck yeah. So do I. I can name 3 or 4 that are live 10 minutes away from me.
Yeah. Now,
I can name independent wrestlers that are better than the guy that's wrestling Cody Rhodes in Berlin in 2 weeks. I don't mean nothing.
But we're going to get to that. I wish I could say that my displeasure of SmackDown ended with Hendry tonight.
No, I guarantee it did.
Not even a little bit. Again, we have the match. Hendry's victorious. Next, we go to the backstage promo, Dragunov versus Carmelo. It was fine. It was what it was. It was to hype up this match tonight. We've seen Drew McIntyre, who said during the promo that developments later in the show will answer all the questions. He would be revealing by the end of the night, creating suspense, heading towards the closing segments. Robbie, did you have this anticipation or this interest of what was going to happen between Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre tonight?
No, but you kind of knew what was going to happen.
To a degree, yeah.
You knew what was going to happen with the stipulations and everything. It's, to me, they have drawn this out too long. I just want it to be over with. It's just been drawn out way too long. Let's move on to the next. It's just way too, because Drew has lost continuously, and there's always an excuse why he lost. We've just drawn that out. That excuse has been drawn out time and time again, and it's like over with. Let's liquor your wounds, move on. Let's go. Figure out the next one. But they've drawn this out way too far.
Yeah, and to Robbie's point, Grizzle, without going too far ahead into what happened, I kind of want to stay on pace. Right. But his point about Drew has lost time and time again with constant excuses. I get it. That's a heel thing, right? But this is the problem. After the final big match and the heel loses again, this is the heel getting their comebacks and Cody Rhodes, they should have moved on forward. I have no doubt in my mind that Cody Rhodes is keeping this title. Unless WWE is planning on doing a big swerve, I don't see Cody dropping this to Drew. Even though Drew's a heel, by Drew constantly losing match after match after match, he's supposed to be one of their number one heel guys. Are they continuously making Drew look weak? Vet?
Well, yeah, and that's been a running thing through all of it, through the feud with Punk, through what he was doing with Orton and everything. You know, Drew comes in and he has his big spots in the matches where he leaves him laying, but when it comes to the match, he loses. And it's kind of, you're kind of thinking that's the same way it's going to go with this one. My issue with this promo, and you were asking Robbie, does it anticipate for the end of the show what's going to happen? Well, like you and I said on the show Tuesday, we knew 15 minutes after we reviewed last week's SmackDown what happened on this week's SmackDown. So there was no anticipation because you knew exactly what was going to. I was just kind of watching the show to catch highlights, what I liked, what I didn't, talk about it on the show. You know, and that goes back to what we've been saying. Pre-recording your shows, while I understand it for the holidays, because, you know, I don't know if any of you saw that tweet from the one girl from AEW who's not very happy with Tony Khan right now. I don't know. Have you heard about this?
No.
Sarah Stock, she's a referee or something. She's with the company.
Yeah.
And I guess she missed Christmas this year because they were on the road doing the show, whatever. And it's very possibly the last Christmas she'll ever spend with her mother. So she's pissed at Tony. Look it up. It's on social media. She's not mincing her words. But in WWE's case, though, they recorded it and everything got out. It kind of kills any build because you're like, oh, I already knew. I'd be curious to see what the ratings were for this week because everybody already knew. But
let me respond to what you said, and I'm going to sound insensitive as fuck. I'm going to, but whatever, right? This girl you talking about, there's a problem. She's on the road. Might be the last Christmas. Should Tony Khan maybe have said, you know what, you could have off to spend? Maybe. Sure, I get that. But when you get into professional wrestling, right, you know that you're going to miss a lot of shit. It happens. And on top of it, how many people? I bet you right now, if Gerald, who's a ref in the indie scene, who would love this opportunity, he's been able to. I think he refed a match for TNA, or he was at least invited to TNA, and he was supposed to. I'm not sure if it happened or not, but he would love to be in that spot. 100% would love to be in that spot. So I'm sorry, she's living a dream that so many people would love, and she's bitching and crying about it. That this is going to be she may not be with AEW again, whatever. You know what? I'm sorry. My heart goes out to you. It really does. That you're in the position with your mother. I will say, yes, Tony Khan, he should have let you have off the night to spend with your mom. But at the same time, when you signed a contract with AEW, you knew that professional wrestling, it doesn't request, it demands a lot of your time.
Oh, it does.
Sometimes you're going to.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Well, I want to go to Robbie because he's been out there, he's traveled. Am I way off? Am I just being an insensitive prick, Robbie?
No, because I mean, my time when I was there, we didn't sign contract. The big names signed contracts, right, but all the enhancement guys didn't. But if they were using us regularly, and they said you're here, here, and here, you took that opportunity. You missed games, your kids' games. You missed birthdays. You missed stuff. And you didn't have a contract. You were shooting for that. So you missed all that stuff. You knew what you were signed up for. I mean, that's just like any other professional athlete and stuff, you miss stuff. And think about, like I said, we weren't on contracts. We were just, used. So you knew if they were using you regularly, that if they booked you, you showed up because your spot wasn't guaranteed. So, I mean, I get it, that's your mom, stuff like that. And same like you, my heart goes out to you, but also you're in a contract and, where, the rest of us, I mean, we missed a lot of stuff, we didn't have contracts. We were gunning for it, but, we weren't guaranteed anything. The only thing we were guaranteed is when we were booked, so, I mean, you knew it. You just knew what was going to happen. So, like I said, you missed stuff, That's just the way it was. And the same, like the guys that were under contract were missing stuff, you know?
Right. Terry, again, who, professional wrestler, he wrestled for WWE. He said, I've missed birthdays, anniversaries, Christmas, and funerals. I mean, it sucks. But at the same time, you're at a level that you wanted to be at. It comes with the territory. Go ahead, Grizzle.
Oh, I'm just gonna throw one. I mean, like I said, I agree with you guys. Yes, her mother's, ill, so it's looking like this is not going to be the last one. So, should maybe an arrangement been made? I think they should have let her go for the thing. Maybe they could. I don't know what, but I think part of the thing is now is you can't really compare now to then, because then, like Robbie said, you were scrapping for your spot, because you had to be on the road to do these spots, because if Robbie didn't do that match, they'd be like, hey, bring in, Tony the Body. Okay, Tony the Body's going to take a spot. Bye, Rob. Nice knowing you. That's going to happen. Nowadays, though, I don't want to say it's softer, but it is. It's easier. You can take that time off and not be worried about your spot, because it's not as crazy like you're going to lose your thing. So I don't think a lot of the talent nowadays, maybe, wrestling-wise, but like referees, things like that, now they wouldn't have been able to do the territories back then, that type of, because it's a totally different animal. It's comparing apples to oranges. It's a far, easier, road, in my opinion. I've never done it, but in my opinion, it seems like it's a little bit of an easier road and an easier journey now than it was back, 70s, 80s, stuff like that.
I agree. It absolutely is. But at the same time, I assume, refs are signing contracts. I don't know. But the point is that, though, you knew what your job was going to be, possibly that, you would have to miss these things. Look, as far as professional wrestlers go, yeah, I'm sure that their spots are nice to secure. But as far as refs go, there's a lot of damn good refs on the indie scene. Gerald is one of them. And I'm sure that there'll be 10 of them that'd be willing to step up and say, I'll take her spot.
Right. But with the softer schedule and the easier kind of a work environment, sometimes some of these ones, might take it for granted because they don't have to work hard. So they think, oh, it's easier to get, you didn't give me the day off. Damn you. You know, well, okay. Anyways.
Okay. So just a real quick thing too. Remember in the book, what happened to me in the book with Mick Foley.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to make a decision. Do I miss 6 months knowing they're not holding a spot for me? Even though I was one of their top enhancement guys, they weren't going to hold a spot for me for 6 months. So I had to make a decision. Do I do surgery and know I may be done now? Or, okay, it's not that bad cosmetically. I can lift. I'm capable, and I'm back in a few days wrestling after that injury. Right. So I mean, there's, the decisions you make, and that was was one of the biggest decisions, that knowing they're not, because the total time recovery time was 6 months at that time from that injury, and it was like you don't have a spot. You're not guaranteed that, because I'm not under a contract or anything.
Right. Next, we go to backstage promo. Mishin, she responds to Cargill's challenge, backed by BFAB. She fired verbal shots at Cargill, setting up their impending championship feud. I'm going to be honest, that I don't care. I just don't. Not with Mishin. Again, I would love to see BFAB pushed to go against Jade, but BFAB needs to be taken off TV for a bit and rebranded in a way before that happens. Go ahead. And look, real quick, nothing against Misha. She's a great talent. I just don't care. Go ahead.
I don't have a problem with this match. I think it's going to be more competitive than some of the stuff we've seen Jade in. And far believable. As far as BFAB, they gave her spot. She had a couple things. Now she's going to go right back to being the, backup manager, sidekick, emotional support, whatever they need her for at that point in time. Because, until they take BFAB off TV for any extended period of time, she's never going to break out of that shell. She's always going to be the backup, the sidekick, the extra. You know, they've got to take her off TV 2-3 months minimum. You know, because as Cornette says, how can we miss you if you never leave? You know,
exactly.
Other than that, she's going to be the sidekick. She's back to being a sidekick. She's going to come out into the corner with Michin next week. You know that's going to happen. She's going to be in her corner for the match. So
right.
Now this match, looking forward to it. I'd rather see this than Jade versus BFAB again. You know, I think Michin will be a decent match. Nothing to write home about. We're not talking Madison Square Garden main event, but
right.
You know.
Before we go to you, Robbie, good friend Herb Simmons, the owner of the legendary SICW that you can catch on YouTube on Sundays, guys. I actually post the YouTube channel every Sunday. So if you're not friends with Herb Simmons or follow him on Facebook, and you're following me or your friends of mine on Facebook, look for that, guys. Don't miss SICW. It's absolutely great. He says, good evening, gentlemen. Hello, Mr. Herb. It's always an honor of telling everyone.
How you doing, Herb?
Yes.
Hi, Mr. Simmons.
Merry Christmas to you, sir. Robbie, again, same question. Is this a match that does anything? Is this a potential match that does anything at all for you?
Not really. I mean, see, this is what I don't understand, though, because you're trying to make Jade dominant. You kind of had her job out Tiffany. So I kind of got to disagree with the GrizzledVet that if you don't kind of job out Michin here, what makes, because I don't put, nothing against Michin. My opinion, Michin isn't as good as Tiffany.
Not at all.
So
I'm just saying it's going to be a good match. It's going to be better than what she had with BFAB.
Oh, right. But I mean, if you give her more than what you would even give Tiffany or whatever, I don't understand that, though, because once again, nothing against Michin, but I don't think Michin is your drawer like Tiffany or Jade or stuff like that, That's just, but as far as the match goes, I mean, unless she keeps the kendo stick and whacks the hell out of Jade, that then I look forward to it.
Now the next match, I was cussing. Charlotte Flair versus Lash Legend, and this didn't make all kinds of sense to me. Number one, let's talk about last week when we seen, granted, yes, I get it, they're tag team champs, but you seen Lash Legend having problems against Asuka, having problems against little Asuka's partner,
Kyrie
Zane. But then she gets in a match with Charlotte Flair, who size for size is comparable to her. And Lash Legend pretty much dominates this whole match. Granted, Charlotte Flair did win. This match was not good at all. Number one, that pin that Charlotte Flair did on Lash Legend to get her the win was I'm like, what in the actual fuck is happening here? I don't know if Charlotte was having a off night. I don't know if it's because of Lash Legend's inexperience that was affecting Charlotte. I don't know what happened in this match, but this was a hard match to watch for myself. Robbie, start with you, man.
Yeah, I'm not a Lash fan. Wasn't a fan of her in NXT. Just not. I don't think she's all that they're pushing her up. I don't think she's all she's hyped up to be. She looked slow. She kind of looked like Nia. Either they need, if they're, I get it, you're pushing her with Nia, but if she's hanging out and training with Nia and stuff, she's picking up her habits. She's slow. She looked bumbly. She looked, if you watch some of the spots, she was slow getting to them. You could watch in different areas where she was slow getting to those spots. And even on that pin, like you said, the pin, she just kind of like lackadaisical to, like, instead of running in there, she just half-assed it. She, unless she just can't handle the being up on the main roster, I'm not impressed with her.
Sorry, Zeller said curling Twinkies. I'll give her this much. She looked a lot better physically, appearance-wise, than the peppermint patty she looked last week. I'll give her that. Grizzle?
I agree with Robbie. I was watching the match and I saw 3 or 4 different times where it was just like she was off. You could tell, oh, you're supposed to be there, you're supposed to be here. And I think part of that problem is kind of inexperience. I don't know how long Lash Legend has been in the ring. I do disagree with Robbie, though, on the NXT thing. I liked her at NXT, but once again, she was facing talent more her level. She was facing talent more her thing. Now she's on the main roster. They got her against Charlotte Flair, who, you know, if you're going to talk about any female wrestler that's ever going to go into a Hall of Fame, it's going to be Charlotte fucking Flair, you know, because the woman's absolutely amazing. It's Charlotte Flair. But, you know, and Lash looked green against her because she still is. You know, she's not ready to face someone like a Charlotte, not without having a tag partner or someone on her side to back her up. And I don't know if Nia's the right partner for that because, like you said, if she picks up Nia's bad habits, that's going to be no. And nothing against Nia. I can't criticize wrestlers because I'm not one, but I know what I like to see. This was not a match I wanted to see. But it was blatantly obvious that she was outclassed.
Let me ask both of you guys a question. Grizzle, we'll start with you, actually.
Okay.
Don't you think, though, that Charlotte, being how damn good she normally is, and don't make any mistakes about it, Charlotte Flair is one of the best out there, you know, in the world as far as female wrestlers. Shouldn't Charlotte, though, being she is that good, have the capability of making Lash Legend look better than what she did in the ring tonight? And if Charlotte did make her look better, then my God, that means Lash Legend is even worse than what we think. Grizzle?
Well, yeah, you would think, but sometimes though, how's the board to put it? You can't take dog shit and polish it and make it look shiny. I mean, depending on how bad she is, there's only so much Charlotte can do. You know, I guess you can look at it that way. There's only so much you can do. It depends on what level Lash is at. You know? And on the flip side of that coin, too, you all know, we all can say that Charlotte, you know, while she is one of the best, she takes a break. You know, she's not on her A game all the time anymore because she doesn't have to be. She's Charlotte Flair.
Right. You know, I heard a story first. Zeller said the match was a 3.5. I agree. I heard a story by Kevin Nash, and he was saying that one night him and Scott Hall just wasn't feeling it that particular night, and they had decided that we'll just go out there and give them the B match, right? You know, so to your point, maybe Charlotte just decided that she's go out there and give it the B match type of a thing. It was pre-recorded. It is right before the holidays. They know that they were, you know, about to leave to go spend time with the family for the holidays. And they're no different than, you know, any of us. Last day of work before we have a few days off for the holidays or vacation. We're not giving it, you know, we're already on vacation mode, if you will. Robbie, was this one of those cases, man?
Maybe, but if you go back and rewatch that match, as painful as it would be, watch, like when she was getting ready to do a move off the top ropes, Lash like wasn't where she was supposed to be, you know, like kind of all of a sudden it was like, oh, I'm supposed to be here, you know, and there was like 3 or 4 times during that match where she, you know, oh, I'm supposed to be here. You know, and then all of a sudden you see it. So maybe, you know, maybe the first couple of times and Charlotte having to wait, maybe Charlotte just kind of phoned it home after that going, okay, you know, she's, you know, not where she's supposed to be. This or, you know, who knows? It could have been a combination of it, but you know, you wonder though, like, cause there's people like you heard Harley Race could work with anybody, make them look good. But you take like, because, you know, Harley worked with all the top guys and yes, some of the enhancement, but if you put him with like, say, an enhancement talent that you didn't use on a regular basis, could Harley have made him look good if he, you know, probably, but, you know,
right. Well, look, as good as Charlotte Flair is, don't get me wrong.
Right.
She's going to be close to being on a level of a Harley race. Not even a little bit. Now, the next match is one of the matches that saved the show for me. It really was. And even though the spoilers have been out there, we knew what was going to happen, or at least most of us. The match, in my opinion, was so good that I was still drawn into it. I really was. And I'm talking about the United States Championship, Dragunov versus Carmelo Hayes. I will say, was the match as good as the first meeting they had a couple of weeks ago? It wasn't, but it was damn close, in my opinion. This was a really good match, and there was a couple of great moments. Now, one thing I had going through my head was, Dragunov, to me, is so good. And was it Dragunov making Carmelo Hayes look that good that they've had two great matches? But I tell you, some of the things that Carmelo Hayes did in this match, there's no doubt that Carmelo Hayes is, I'm not going to say he's as good as Dragunov. I don't think he is, in my opinion, but he's not far behind. Carmelo Hayes is pretty damn good. Start with you, Grizzle.
Carmelo Hayes, in my opinion, is give him the opportunities and he could be a Shawn Michael level star.
Absolutely.
As far as being in the ring.
Right.
Was this match as good as the first one? No. Was it that far off? Fuck no. This was easily match of the show for me, because especially after what came after this. But and no, I knew the spoilers. We knew, like I said, 15 minutes after we were done last week, I'm like, oh, Carmelo won the, God damn it. But I still wanted to see the match. And no matter what spoilers they said or what video clips they showed, nothing spoiled that match, because that thing was beautiful. And I said a few weeks ago, they were wasting Carmelo. They weren't using his potential, and I was afraid he was going to get swept under the rug. I'm hoping this is a sign that, maybe somebody WWE is listening to us. And they went, no, we're not going to sweep him under the rug. Give us a minute. Okay, hang on. We're going to, they gave him a shot. He shined. I think it was a great match. I think Ilya is going to move on. I see Ilya and Cody as a run going pretty soon. I see it has to happen, and I think Ilya had to lose that U.S. title to be able to move up to that spot.
It's interesting that you said that, because as soon as the conclusion of the match, we seen Dragunov drop the tire. The first thing that went through my mind, it wasn't, oh man, what are they going to do with this guy next? The first thing that went through my mind is they're preparing him to go out to have a title match against Cody Rhodes. That's the first thing that went through my mind, just because of how good he is. And if they're not doing that, then whoever's in charge back there with creative and stuff like that has to be fired, because he's just too damn good of a talent, both him and Hayes, for them just to kind of sweep under the rug. Robbie, your thoughts on this, man?
I liked it. I think, was it as good as the first one? But they did some great spots in there. Some of the spots they didn't do them in the first match. And I mean, a few of those spots were, they pulled them off great. I thought it was, the lucky thing, I guess, is I didn't see the spoiler stuff. So I had no idea what was coming. So I guess I was in the dark. So I had no idea that.
But you know what? This match was so good that even though there's a spoiler, I knew the ending of it. I swear to you, those false finishes when Dragunov or Carmelo Hayes would kick out, I was still like, holy shit, he can't. I mean, that's how good the match was.
Yeah.
Right, but you think about a few of the spots where he turned the one into the cutter, and
oh my god, yeah,
where they coming out of the air and drop kicking them and stuff like that. I mean, some of those moves were just spot on. They pulled them off great, stuff like that. So it was a great match.
Yeah, and it was so fast when he did it that I'll be honest, I missed it. That's how fast he did. And then they showed the replay of it. And I'm like, holy shit, man, this kid is so damn good.
And really one of the spots in the match that just amazed me, and because you see Ilya and you see, okay, he's a small guy. He doesn't look like a Batista. He doesn't look like a Drew McIntyre. But when Carmelo was hitting, hitting the 8 or whatever, he caught him and then walked him and put him on the. He caught him mid move and put him on the turnbuckle. You forget how strong Ilya is. He looks small, but that man has got some power. And to catch Carmelo in that hole and be like, nope, we're not going to do that move. You're going to come over here. We're going to do this. I was like, damn, you underestimate just how powerful Ilya is for his size.
Yeah, 100%. Next was the backstage segment of the entire women's division, tag team division. Chaos. The only part that made me giggle about this was when Rhea kind of smacked freaking Asuka back the head. That was kind of funny. Other than that, and then Nick Aldis, we're going to have the 8-man, blah, blah, blah. Like, so basically, we're going to have next week on the 3-hour debut of SmackDown. The entire women's tag team division. And some of these women truly aren't really real tag team wrestlers. In this match, I didn't care whatsoever, not even a little bit. There's not even a small part in me that wants to see this. Robbie? I'm sorry. Yeah, Robbie, go ahead.
You do know it's me and the vet on the show, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Look, he's so disgusted from SmackDown, he's forgetting who his co-hosts are tonight. Yeah. Well, they're going to do it in my hometown, Buffalo.
There you go.
I could do without a couple people in that match. Hopefully it'll be good. I kind of want to see it. Like I said, there's a couple of people I could do without in that match. I'd rather see. I know who I'd like to see out, and I'd stick somebody else in, and whoever you stick B-Fab and Meech in or whatever as a tag team, or even bring Sol Ruka and Zarya up. I wouldn't mind seeing them. It'll be okay. I mean, it shouldn't be too bad. I wouldn't think.
Right.
And watch, they'll probably prove me wrong. So
Yeah. Guys, real quick, I skipped over a segment that I did want to talk about. And it was Cody Rhodes, Nick Aldis, and Trick Williams. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this was Trick Williams at the end of the segment. It was mostly about Cody Rhodes being impatient with the whole Drew McIntyre thing, which I'll give a shit about. But what I did care about was Trick Williams getting in Cody Rhodes' face. I'm going to be honest, I would rather see a feud between Trick Williams and Cody Rhodes than what we see in Cody Rhodes with Drew McIntyre right now. And you guys may disagree with me. Most people may disagree with me, actually. But I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know if Cody Rhodes, as good as he is, can perform at the level of Trick Williams, man. I'm really curious about that. That's a match I'd like to see. Grizzle, your thoughts on what I just said and on the backstage segment.
Can Cody wrestle a guy at the level of Trick Williams? Yes.
No, can he wrestle? Can he keep up?
Can he keep up? Oh, yes, I think he can, because a guy like Trick Williams is the guy that will bring the best out of Cody Rhodes, and Cody needs that. He needs that guy that's going to make him step up, and Trick's going to do that. A match between them two, I think, would be phenomenal. I think it'd be amazing, because Trick is going to get Cody to step up where he's like, Cody right now, I'm going to face Drew.
Right.
I'm going to face Drew again. Oh, I'm going to face Trick? Oh, shit. Okay, well, all right. Let me doll up a little bit. Let me put on my big boy underwear here, and let's go do this shit. Because Cody gets kind of complacent when he's facing the same guys. A guy like Trick would kind of, I think, bring something out of it. So I'd love to see that. And I think, yeah, he could keep up because Trick's going to bring it out of him. Right now, he doesn't have to bring anything out of him because he's facing Drew for the umpteenth thousandth time. In fact, I was reading online before we come to do this show, which I think is funny. They taped SmackDown last week so they could air it this week so they could have the holiday off. But there's a goddamn holiday show, I think, in Baltimore or whatever, this evening or whatever that Cody's on. And who's he facing in the main event? Drew.
Yeah.
We're recording SmackDown to give him the night off, but we're going to have a holiday show, and it's just going to be the same shit.
Right.
As far as the backstage segment goes, Okay, Charlotte, and they're like, all right, okay, here come I'm like, okay, and then and and the referees are trying to break it up, which was funny because the referees are smaller than most of the girls, and Alexa Bliss and Kairi Sane are two of the girls in that thing. They got some small ass male referees running in to save that shit. Match will be okay, just because there's at least 6 credible, women in there. I mean, I'm not going to give Nia or Lash much credit out of it, but the other 6 will cover for it. So because it's going to be Nia and Lash and Asuka and Kyrie versus Alexa, Charlotte, Rhea, and Io. So it'll be there'll be enough to cover, and they'll make Lash look good, and Nia'll get her spots, and match it'll be okay. Is this one of the matches I'm going to use to hype my fucking return to 3 hours on SmackDown? God, no. Especially they say our main event tonight. I'm not, no.
Yeah, I agree. And I know,
can't wait to see what we got to say after watching SmackDown for 3 hours and then have to come on here and do a live podcast at 10:30.
Right. And I'll stand by my statement. I don't give a shit about this. I'm not looking forward to it. Now, do I think it's going to be entertaining? Sure, I do. Because what you say, Grizzle, most on there are good wrestlers. So it will be entertaining. Robbie, I will go back to you, though, about the Cody Rhodes, Trick Williams face-off at the end of that segment. Do you agree with Grizzle that, no, Trick is going to bring the best out of Cody? Or do you think that, man, Trick Williams is going to show that, he's this much more higher in his ability than Cody Rhodes?
I think you'll bring the best out of him. I'm kind of curious to see how Trick's going to perform on the big stage. So I'm curious, is he ready to perform up here on the big stage? Or is he another one of those guys that just is, NXT, and that's, like where you don't think like Javon Evans, I've seen, he looks better in NXT.
Right.
So now I'm wondering can Trick cut it up on the big roster?
Fair point.
I'm curious. I want to see. So, if he goes with Cody, we'll see. And I agree with Vet that it'll bring the best out of him. I think Cody's kind of got complacent with Drew, and probably vice versa. Drew complacent with Cody, and they just same old, who cares? It's, let's just do this. So now you'll have to bring it with Trick, but is Trick ready to be up on the main roster?
Fair point. Next is the women's tag team match: Julia and Kiana James versus Chelsea Green and Alba Fire. I'm an Alba Fire fan. I think that she is probably one step better than most of these women, in my opinion. But this match just didn't do it for me. And Chelsea Green is good as well. But, honestly, all of these women are fine performers. But this match itself didn't work for me. GrizzleVet?
Sorry, I don't even have to pay attention though. You're talking about the horse shit that followed the. You give us Carmelo and Dragunov. And then you give us a bad women's segment, and then you give us a tag. I would have done this in reverse. I would have done the women's match, tag match, then give us the backstage, then give us Carmelo and Ilya. Jesus Christ.
Well, look, I'll be honest. I think that
the placement and pacing of the show went
right.
It went wonky the last hour of the show.
Dragunov and Hayes should have been the actual main event instead of the closing segment, which we're about to get to.
Well, I want to agree with that. I disagree with that.
I think that
I have a reason,
great match should be the main event instead of, even if it's a good closing segment. I really do.
I gotta go.
The closing segment. Closing segment was where it should have been.
I agree with KG. I think they should have ended with Carmelo and Eli. I think that would have been the way to end it because that match was good enough. I mean, what they're doing with Chelsea and, against Julia, I'm just not invested in Julia. I just don't understand. I don't see the hype. I just don't see the hype. I don't think Julia's as good as Stephanie Vicar or whatever. I mean, obviously she's talented. You brought her in from wherever. I just, and I get it because I've seen interviews with Chelsea and she, it's a payday. I'm, this, that, and I'm making money and I'll do what they want. And she's, playing that part and she's playing it well. But seeing her matches from before, I think, WWE is wasting her away in there. But, she plays her part well, but I still think you're wasting a lot of her talent.
Yeah. Now, Terry says Trick and Cody at WrestleMania. Man, Terry, I tell you, I agree with a lot of things you say mostly, but, as Robbie was saying, I agree with Robbie. Now you brought it up. Will Trick Williams be able to perform at the same level he was at NXT on the main roster just because he's dealing with performers that are that much better? You have that much pressure. Putting him on WrestleMania, I don't know if he'd be ready for that because WrestleMania is right around the corner. Vet, do you think that, a Trick Williams would be ready for that much pressure to deliver on WrestleMania against Cody Rhodes?
Against Cody? No. Trick Williams, like getting a Mania moment a la Joe Hendry, last year. Yes, Trick definitely deserves a spot. Even if it was that Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal thing or something, I don't think he's ready for a Cody spot at WrestleMania. I think that's too soon.
Yeah, Robbie?
No, I don't think he is. I mean, well, if you're bringing him up and you see, if he can handle it, but bottom line, I don't know if he's ready for the big, a big moment, but he may prove you wrong,
Yeah, let's see. Next is, I guess, the main event, which is the closing segment, Drew McIntyre, Cody Rhodes. Now, I will admit, as tired as I am of this feud between these two, this was entertaining. This was one of Drew's best segments in a while. I loved when he apologized to the ref and then just started blabbering at the mouth. I thought it was fucking funny. I was laughing my ass off. I loved when he attacked Cody with words. I loved when he talked about Dusty Rhodes being in hell. I thought it was great. I didn't mind this segment. Grizzle, start with you.
I thought the segment was fun, and I'm not, for a live crowd, with this segment, would Carmelo and been a better end of this? But for TV, and this is a TV production, this segment was probably the best way to close out because they could go out on TV with those sound bites of Drew, oh, and when I send you to hell, say hello to your dad for me. Oh, you get those sound bites. So production-wise is why I think this was a better spot on there. Yes.
Time out real quick. Before you get too far into this, and I want to bring this up. I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but WWE on SmackDown tonight, they were using a lot of piped-in crowd reactions. If you go back and watch it, and you watch some of those matches, watch the match Charlotte versus Lash Legend. You heard the chants of, Charlotte or whatever. You heard some of the chants of "This is awesome" with fans clapping their hands. Watch the crowd. You've seen hardly anyone, "This is awesome" or Charlotte Flair. You didn't at all.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the only match they did it in. There was a lot of audience pipe sounds being dropped into this show tonight. What do you guys think about that? I'm just curious, Grizzle. What do you think about them using that,
I'm not sure if this was one of two shows being recorded, because I believe they recorded Raw and SmackDown on the same night. So if this was the second show, that crowd's already gone through 2.5, 3 hours of something. They're going to get tired. They're not going to have that same enthusiasm. So yeah, they're gonna pipe in some sound because the crowd's tired, and they have the option to do that with audio. That's part of the problem with recording ahead of time. If you do two shows in one night, I was at a double Raw. Remember when those were the thing back like early 2000s?
Yep.
I was at the double Raw where, because Donald Trump had given everybody money the week before, Vince said, "Oh, we're going to do 2 Raws tonight." We're like, in the home crowd, we're like, "Whoa!" But dude, after 4 hours of, you're like, your ass is starting to get kind of sore. You're getting kind of tired. I can see how the crowd was, so they're going to have to pipe it in. Once again, that's one of the, side effects or the bad things about taping your shows in advance, because you're doing 2 or 3 at one, or at least 2 at one time. Your crowd's going to get tired. It's the same thing when you have maybe not Mania and all that because they split that up, but okay, we'll go to my old favorite, a Tony Khan extravaganza. Sometimes that crowd gets kind of tired 4 hours into a show, and you got to let them kind of give them something. They can just kind of go, okay, catch their breath on. That's what the problem is when you do 4 and 5 hours. People aren't conditioned for that shit.
Right. I think, matter of fact, the match where you seen the fans most lively was in the match of Dragunov versus Carmelo Hayes. After that, before that, and after that. Robbie, same question. How do you feel, as someone who used to be a performer, about them using piped in sounds?
Well, yeah, because didn't you do the crazy TV tapings back in the day where they do 6 to 8 hours of TV at one day so they could split it up over a month's worth of programming?
No, I don't think we ever did 6 to 8 hours. They would do 2 shows though. They weren't bad. In the crowd, I don't remember the crowd being, dead, but you got to think those shows were maybe an hour, 2 hours max.
Oh, yeah, good point.
So maybe 4 hours total, doing that. So depending on what shows they were taping. So one may be an hour TV and then the other 2 hours. And, and if they did 2 hours, it still wasn't bad. So the crowd, your crowd still were fired up and stuff. I know one, I don't even know if they did pipe the sound in. I remember we did TV at CNN building, and that's when they had signed the deal with Ruse. So they had all the representatives from Ruse, and you might have seen a few fans, but when you looked into the stands, there was everybody in suits. And I think even Ted was in there with suits and stuff, and you could hear a pin drop. And I remember the first match coming going, can't talk out there, boys. It's too quiet, because these guys all in suits, they weren't wrestling fans. They just wanted to make a deal, and they made the deal. So that was kind of weird. And I don't even remember if they piped sound in on that on the TV or not, because you're going back, you had to be I think it was 89. So, probably have the tape of me, whoever I worked that night, but I don't know if they piped in sound, but it was weird just seeing people in suits, looking out in the audience and seeing, 90% suits and stuff. So, but I guess, you do what you got to do.
Yeah. The closing segment, Rob, what'd you think about this, man?
They didn't come back to me.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff that Drew said was funny and stuff. I guess I just want this Drew Cody thing to kind of go away. So that, it's but when he said, say hi to Dusty in hell and stuff, that was pretty funny. And you knew he was going to push to try to get him to lay a hand on him and stuff like that. So you knew he was going to push buttons. So, on his part, the segment with him, his stuff that he said was pretty funny. It's just, we've played this out so long. It's just, it would have, had this not been going on for what seems like 6 months, it would have been great. It had its points, and it was good, but I just wanted to go away.
Yeah. Grizzle, and I know you'll talk more about it, but I have a question. I think you would really know this. Drew mentioned that the ref, I can't remember the guy's name, that he was someone that once wanted to be a pro wrestler. Was that just a line he used, or do you know at some point that was this a guy who was aspiring to be?
I don't know anything about the background of that referee. I know a lot of their current crop of referees, though, are talent that have come out of training camps, because the Jessica Carr,
right?
She was one, and now she's wrestling under the mask on, I think, Evolve or whatever. I know they have a class of refs that were training that got plucked out of the performance center and things like that to be referees. So it's very highly likely.
Right. Yeah, go ahead about the match. You want to? I mean, the segment.
Anyways, Robbie hits the nail right on the head. We're tired of this thing between Cody and Drew. We want to see it end. We're tired of it. One, you're going to wait 2 more weeks. So obviously next week on the first 3-hour SmackDown, Drew's going to do something because Cody can't touch him. So something's going to happen next week. So we got another week. Then in 2 weeks, we go to Germany and Berlin, and we'll be here talking to. But what do they give us as the match to end the feud? 3 fucking stages of hell. So we're tired of it already. And they go, we're going to make him wrestle 3 more goddamn times before we have a final. And it's not going to be. My wife said it. Her prediction is Drew's going to win the first match. Cody wins the second one. And then Cody wins the third. But Drew's going to get the advantage right off the bat.
Right.
So they're making us watch 3 matches when we're already tired of seeing these guys over and over and over. I don't know if 3 stages of hell is the perfect ending. And I'm hoping maybe next week they'll do something where he tells us what the 3 stages are. Because I don't want to go into it going, okay, what are the 3 stages? 1-on-1. Okay. And the next stage, street fight. Okay. And the third match, a cage match. I'm hoping maybe so we can kind of, I don't want to be like expecting something and then just get.
Let me tell you,
bored out of the building.
My prediction of the final match of what's going to happen. The final match is going to be the referee that Drew McIntyre insulted, because again, they're both going to each have a win against one another. This is going to be the match, right? And something's going to happen, and that ref is going to do something that's going to help Cody because of Drew being a shitbag. And that's how Cody's going to retain. My fear with that, though, if that does happen, does that mean Drew's going to be crying more? And does that mean we're going to see one more final match between these two?
No.
That's my fear, though.
No, really you keep saying that, and I'm going to say his name many times, and it's not to see if he appears.
But you know what? I have to agree with KG. I can see this drawing it out one more time.
I don't think they can. I think they're calling it. Well, they can. I think calling it 3 stages of hell and going for the 3 matches. This is going to be the boom end up. Then we're going to head into Rumble. Who's going to win the Rumble? We're going to start setting up that storylines. I think they're ending this storyline so that we can set up to go into Road to Mania, because we don't need Drew and Cody in the Road to WrestleMania, because we know it's not going to happen at WrestleMania. So in my opinion, I think this is going to be it. There's going to be the definitive, we're done. Now we move on to the Rumble and get ready for the Road to WrestleMania and set up what's coming in Vegas.
This is what I was getting to, right? If they decide, because as big as the Royal Rumble is going to be, because of where it's at, right? They're going to want a Cody Rhodes title match. They don't have time to build a storyline, in my opinion, for a really great feud for a title match. My thing is, I just have a feeling that, again, something to do with the ref being the guy that Drew, insulted, embarrassed, giving Drew a reason to cry and whine, one more match, and it finally officially ends at Royal Rumble?
I don't see no. I think I'm going with this is going to be the finale of this one. You know what I could see at the Rumble, though, because if Saudi gets what Saudi wants, Saudi could just say, hey, we'd like to see Brock Lesnar against Cody Rhodes. Okay. Saudi gets what Saudi wants.
I get that, but I don't know if that's what they would want. Robbie.
Well, I'm not saying it is, but if it was, whoever Cody faces is whoever Prince Hubba Bubba wants for the show that night. That's why I can't wait till next year for WrestleMania. That is going to be the goofiest fucking card on the planet because their storylines are going to have to be. We have to come up with storylines based on Hubba Bubba wanting, this and this and this guy and this guy and this guy and this guy, and then creative has to write that shit.
This could be the Undertaker again.
Undertaker versus Goldberg, the rematch.
Right. Do you see this being pushed to Royal Rumble because of the things I just said? Yes,
I can. I know you say it can't. This is wrestling, though, Vet, and they'll do it. None of it. It should be, but it's wrestling, and at times it just doesn't make sense. So I can.
Yeah, but isn't there a point where saying it's wrestling kind of just 3 stages of hell? That just sounds very definitive. Done. And if you do that, and then the fans go, "Why the fuck is he getting a rematch?" Well, it's wrestling. Okay. Saying it's wrestling kind of they've already kind of diluted what like Hell in a Cell could be.
Wow, you just said it though, but think about it. 3 stages of hell, that doesn't finish it. So the only other match to follow kind of the what they're doing now would be Royal Rumble, Hell in a Cell.
I guess the complete way to end it, and it'd be great to do it at the 3 stages of hell. The final one would be last man standing. Whoever.
Well, I've already seen with Alistair and Damian Priest. They just bring the women in, and Cody will be fighting with a woman on his side, and Drew will have them. So we've already seen where that goes.
Right. So
they've already ruined last man standing.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm being honest, guys. As much as I like wrestling, every Friday, I look at my wife and I say, fuck, it's Friday. I gotta watch SmackDown tonight. And it's only been 2 hours. Now it's going to 3 hours. I am just dreading that. Now, I tell you, a show that's been better than SmackDown has been AEW Dynamite. And we have tomorrow a pay-per-view that I am actually looking forward to. World's End. Grizzle, I know you're a WWE guy.
Stop.
But I also know that you do enjoy AEW. You're starting to enjoy AEW.
You call me a WWE guy, but do you know that, like last night, for example, I watched Chicago Wrestling Club for like an hour. Do you know what Chicago Wrestling Club is?
Yeah.
That's the matches from the 1950s where they wrestled in a ballroom where everybody was wearing suits and ties. I watch that shit. I'm a wrestling guy. I like watching wrestling.
But what I'm saying is more times than not, WWE, AEW, you prefer WWE.
I have more access to WWE, I can get, but I have to do the streaming services for AEW.
Right.
I'm going to watch the pay-per-view. Don't get me wrong. I've got to see Okada and Takeshita. That just has to happen.
Right.
Don't really care about Moxley versus Fletcher. I'm scared of what that's going to turn into. The 4-way match, obviously, I'll be home in time to catch that on my big screen. Shouldn't be very busy at work tomorrow, so I'm pretty guaranteed I'll have it on my phone in the back, watching it while I'm working. Looking forward to it. Bang Bang Gang and FTR in a street fight. Okay, it's got enough of it. But I'll watch the AEW pay-per-views. If there's a match I'm kind of bored with, I just fast forward to it. I'm not really interested in Babes of Wrath versus Athena and Mercedes. Right. And, funny story about that. I was watching Collision last night with my son, and been a long day, still recovering from the flu. Fell asleep in my recliner chair. Us old men, we do that. We just sit in a chair, we fall asleep. Simple. I woke up and I'm like half asleep, and all I hear is, "What are we?" Oh shit! And there they are on the screen. Fucking Willow Nightingale scared the shit out of me.
Babes of Wrath and their Babes of it's fucking terrible. Now, I tell you one match that I was upset with, and we'll end with this. We're not going to go into Dynamite, but a match that I just called but the match that I call bullshit on Dynamite. And Robbie, did you watch it? I think Roderick Strong, and the fact that Jungle Boy Jack Perry beat Roderick Strong, I that was enough that I almost turned off Dynamite at that point, because that was such a bullshit call, in my opinion. Roderick Strong is nothing against Jack Perry. He's talented, but I'm sorry, it's Roderick Strong. Roderick Strong is one of the best technical wrestlers in professional wrestling today, not just in AEW, today, period. And to see the fact that they're pushing Jack Perry in this tournament further.
What are you doing?
I was not happy about that. What was your thoughts on that, Robbie?
Yeah, I agree with you. I wasn't happy. I didn't understand it. Why, you look at like Chris, you just match their career for career. Okay. Chris has been around for a long time. I mean, he was a big superstar in Ring of Honor. He was one of the top guys in NXT. And then you brought him over and they were tops for a while. And then, and I can't, I'm trying to see it, like, to me, Adam Cole, I mean, I guess he, like everybody, again, I don't understand the big attraction for Adam Cole. He was good. I don't think he was as good as Roderick Strong was. Mm-hmm. But he was the leader or whatever. But when he was healthy, they were on top. And then when Adam Cole kind of went down, now you kind of pushed Roderick and Kyle O'Reilly to the side, and those are guys that are supposed to be like really, really good, and I think those two guys were more talented than Adam Cole. And I mean, I know Chris is, because if you go back through, and even now you can watch, you'll push him, but think of all the times that from Ring of Honor that he had Iron Man matches, 60 minutes and stuff. Right. Could Adam Cole go 60 minutes on a, like a nightly basis? I don't think so.
But is it one of those things, because I agree with you, the only thing I will say that Adam Cole is better at than Roderick Strong is Adam Cole has more charisma.
Okay, yeah, I'll give you that.
One of those things that in professional wrestling, charisma kind of tops in-ring performance.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's kind of proven it. It's, you've seen it where you see guys that are very talented, but not so good on the mic, or okay on the mic promo wise, and the guy with the promos. Yeah. So, I mean, I do. Okay. So yeah, Cole had the charisma part.
Right. Because I mean, even now, and I don't want to go into another hour talk about this, right. But look, as much as I don't like Joe Hendry, he has charisma. I honestly believe that without his charisma, he wouldn't be where he's at right now in professional wrestling. So
I'm going to give you that one. I'll give you that.
Charisma, for some reason, tops in-ring talent. And I don't necessarily agree with that all the time. Roderick Strong is one of those cases. I mean, he may not be as charismatic as a lot of professional wrestlers, but it's not like he's terrible, right? Cutting promos. I think that he's a guy that should definitely, especially at AEW, have carried that title, that world title by now. GrizzledVet, I mean, where are you at with this? Did you watch Dynamite and did you see that match?
I watched bits and pieces of it because I know we weren't reviewing it, and it was obviously Christmas Eve, so I was doing other things. Right. After Jungle Boy won his match, was that where he was sitting on the ramp and Luchasaurus brought out milk and cookies?
Yes.
Okay, I saw that. I didn't realize he was wrestling Roderick Strong. I just saw Jungle Boy because I was flipping channels, and I saw him sitting on the mat eating a cookie, and then he had a gallon. I'm like, Okay.
By the way, I love the fact that
I had no idea what had happened.
To a fan. He offered a cookie to the fan, and the fan was like, "Nah, thank you. I don't want it."
Okay,
No,
that's all I saw about, you know. To bring a point about charisma and all that, this brings up something Robbie asked us in the group page last week. He's talking about Mark Merrow and Mike Awesome about, you know, wrestling wise and all that. And I use charisma as an example because that's what made Mark Merrow. Mark Merrow was so fucking charismatic as Johnny B. Bad in WCW. He was gold. I mean, you could push him to the moon and the fans went for it. They took him over to WCW where he had to be the wild man, wrestling the same, but didn't have that Johnny B. Bad charisma gimmick, and the fans didn't give a shit. Charisma, you can be talented and all that, but if you're not that charismatic, nobody cares. And Mark Merrow is the proof of that. As Johnny B. Bad, he was heading for the stars. As wild man Mark Merrow, he was boring. And charisma was the main thing of that. Joe Hendry would not be the big thing if it wasn't for the music and the songs he does and where he smiles and just now appears. Because that's what the fans like, but it's a charisma thing. If he didn't have that and you're just like, oh, and here's his opponent, Joe Hendry. You know, that's what's going to happen.
Right. I mean, and don't get me wrong, there are the exceptions to the rules. One of them, of course, and I have to use this example, is the name that you're supposed to talk about is Chris Benoit. Chris Benoit wasn't very charismatic, right? But he was so talented in the ring that the fans were drawn to him, right? So there are the exceptions to the rules, but it's not very often.
No.
I disagree with you a little on that. Benoit didn't have flamboyant charisma, like he's not dancing to the ring and all that, but just the look in his face, the intensity and all that. I think he had like a charisma about him, but it was more an intense, maybe not even charisma. It was an intensity, and that's what made Chris Benoit so kind of like a charisma. If he didn't have that intensity and was just a great wrestler, it may not have been the same thing. Benoit with that intensity and the Rabid Wolverine and all that, I think that helped him. And so intensity and charisma can kind of go side by side on that one. Right.
I'm looking forward to World's End. I think, Robbie, are we covering it Sunday?
If you want, I'm good with it. I'm good.
Does 4 work or do you want to do it later?
No, that's fine. 4 would work.
4 o'clock Central. Grizzle, you be joining us?
I will be working.
Is there a time better that you'd be able to join us?
Oh, I work until 10.
10, yes. Too late for
we would have to do it at like noon if you wanted me to join you on a Sunday.
Robbie, does that give you enough time?
Yeah, I'll watch it in the morning. I'll get up first. I can do noon. I can do noon.
Let's do noon.
Let me check with you on this one first before we all go and agree to this. I will confirm with you tomorrow what I can do.
Okay.
Because remember, I don't get home till 10, so I have to be able to watch the show too. So
Right. Cool. Well, guys, follow me on Facebook. If you're not following me, I put all the schedule out there. When it comes to things like pay-per-views or PLEs, at times we're unsure of times just because of different schedules and whatnot. But that does that finishes the recap for SmackDown, guys. I give it a C-. Robbie, that's being nice, by the way.
I kind of agree with you. C-. The definitely the dragging off Carmelo Hayes, and I give Drew with a few of his stuff that probably saved it.
Right. Grizzle?
I'll say a C- as well. If it wasn't for Ilya and Carmelo in that final segment, the show would have just tanked.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Well, guys, again, be looking for us at some point on Sunday. I will post it on my social media page on Facebook. You can find me, KG Landry, on Facebook. Let you guys know for sure what time we will be doing the recap of World's End on Sunday. Robbie, Grizzle, anything?
Taking a break, taking a week off from Rasslin Memories, so we don't have any. We will be back next week to do a kind of a recap of 2025 and the highs, the lows, and the what the fucks of the year. So, but this weekend we're taking the holidays off, for the Christmas season. So.
Cool. Don't work, Robbie.
My book. You want to go buy my book? So,
Yeah.
other than
Ring in
that,
the new year meeting, looking
yeah,
up at the
ring
light.
in the new year with Robbie Idol's book, Looking Up at the Lights.
Absolutely, guys. Well, until Sunday night, you guys have a great Saturday. Enjoy World's End, everybody. We'll see you guys then. Have a good night.